Sunday, May 15, 2022. I'm Lights Camera Jackson and welcome to LCJ Live. We are here and we've got box office results. We've got fall TV schedules coming out this week. We've got Downton Abbey returning to the theaters. How will it do? It's going to get interesting because we'll get into this box office and then determine if there's really going to be a showdown. I think there will be. Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness dropped 67%. to $61 million this weekend. It's at about $292 million. That is a big drop, and more than I expected. I think more than a lot of people expected for the new Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So, when you look at next weekend, when Downton Abbey comes back to theaters with the sequel, A New Era, the original opened to $31 million in 2019. And if this sequel, let's say adjusted for inflation, does $35 million, maybe $40 million, if everybody goes right away, then you could really have a battle between Downton Abbey and Doctor Strange Week 3. Because Doctor Strange could fall 50%, well, that'd be $33.5 million, and that's what this Downton Abbey sequel could do, depending on how many people go right away. So that is going to be a battle next weekend, and I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing Downton Abbey: A New Era this week. I'm also looking forward to checking out Men, the new Alex Garland movie. Haven't seen it yet, but looking forward to that because I loved Ex Machina and Annihilation. I tell people a lot about Annihilation. Check that movie out. When it comes to more box office results this week, before we get into fall TV, before we get into some more things, I want to tell you about The Bad Guys. It's $6.9 million this weekend with a total of $66 million. It's passed a lot of DreamWorks movies now that have come out the last couple of years, but still on the lower end of the all-time list of DreamWorks animation movies at the box office. And Sonic the Hedgehog 2 in third with $4.6 million. It's at $176. Families still wanted to go see some movies in the theaters this weekend. They needed something, so they're maybe going for a second time or a third time to see The Bad Guys and Sonic. Whoa, Mondo Cool, thanks for being here on LCJ Live. Another film out for families this weekend was Family Camp, with just $1.4 million at the box office this weekend. It did not do so well. Didn't see a lot of promotion. Not a lot of promotion, according to DJ Rajopo, for Downton Abbey. Dan Bennett 13, thanks for being here on LCJ Live. Didn't see a lot for Family Camp, so not surprised that it only made $1.4 million. The other big new movie that came out this weekend, Firestarter, which I watched last night through a link through Universal. Thank you for that. Just $3.8 million in the theaters. $3.8 million, and it was also on Peacock. It's on Peacock right now. So I knew it wasn't going to do so well because you've got a lot of people who just say, I'll just watch it on Peacock. But even though with a Friday the 13th release for a horror movie, this supernatural thriller, really, it's more that than horror, not a lot of people want to go see Firestarter. It's not a very good film. The first two-thirds, about the first hour, is okay-ish. It's like a C+-ish movie. And then I'm not a fan of the third act. There's a point, and then from then on, it's like, none of this works. Why did we need this movie? This has nothing to it. It's a very straightforward point A to point B to point C. The saving grace in this is Zac Efron. Zac Efron gives a legitimately good performance in Firestarter, and he makes the movie watchable, at least for the hour and a half, because he does not phone it in. He gives it his all. So props to Zac Efron, but I'm disappointed by a lot of the rest of the movie. Reminded me in some aspects of The New Mutants. You know, kind of these young people finding their powers, and that movie was a drag, and this movie kind of is in spots as well. John Carpenter's score in this new Firestarter movie is just like his Halloween theme. Literally, you listen to it and you go, wait, isn't this the Halloween theme? Why are you basically doing the same thing again? So that's Firestarter. So $3.8 million. It'll end up with maybe 7 total if it gets there, maybe 6.5. It'll make about $1.5 million-ish next weekend and then completely fall off the face of the earth. So Universal has to be a little disappointed in that. But hey, just a few weeks away now from Universal's gigantic summer blockbuster number 1, which is Jurassic World Dominion. Then they're going to have Minions. Then they're going to have the Jordan Peele movie Nope. So they've got a few big tentpole movies for the summer. Jurassic World is on the way. Everything Everywhere All at Once. A24. It's probably going to become the biggest A24 movie ever. Going to pass Uncut Gems. $3.3 million this weekend. It's at 47.1. I think Uncut Gems made around 51. So it's going to do it. It'll make another $2 million or so at least next weekend. It'll pass Uncut Gems to become the biggest A24 movie. They will celebrate that. Fantastic Beasts just passed 90 million domestically. Warner Brothers has to be going, what happened here? Just 2.4 million this weekend. Their big movies for the summer, they've got a couple. One is Elvis, which is at the end of June, and the other is the DC League of Super Pets animated movie at the end of July. Those are their huge Warner Brothers movies for the summer because they moved Super Pets from May to July, kept Elvis in June, took away Black Adam from July now to October, and The Rock is still working on visual effects moments for the movie and key parts and action sequences. I'm a little concerned that Black Adam's not even going to come out in October, and they're going to keep delaying these DC movies. I know Shazam, they say Shazam is done, which is why Shazam has moved up from next year to this December. But I don't know. Something tells me Black Adam might move again. But those are the two big Warner Brothers, the ones they're counting on. And I mean, DC League of Super Pets is a big animated movie. It'll probably do all right. But Elvis, it's a wild card, because if the movie stinks and the reviews are bad, nobody's going to go. Even Tom Hanks fans and Baz Luhrmann fans may experience it, but people who are on the fence are going to say, I'm going to pass if the buzz is really negative. If Austin Butler is outstanding, if the movie's really good, then people will go to Elvis, but it's going to skew older, and it's not designed to be a blockbuster. I know The Great Gatsby was a semi-blockbuster, made about $145 million for Warner Brothers in 2013, Baz Luhrmann's last film. But that had Leonardo DiCaprio, that had a big cast, Carey Mulligan. It came out in May. People were excited and curious about it. I think people are curious about this Elvis movie too, but the buzz on Gatsby was good, and it ended up winning 2 Oscars. So we will see what Elvis does. Some other movies at the box office this weekend. The Northman, $1.7 million. It's at 31. The Lost City, another 1.7. It's at $97 million. Now, here's the thing about The Lost City. I was saying a couple weeks ago, gee, I don't think it's going to get to $100 million. Now Paramount is going to try all they can to get it to $100 million. No, another 1.7 this weekend. If it makes another million next weekend, it'll get to 99. They will try as hard as they can for it to cross that 100 million mark, which is impressive. A movie that opens to 30 and does 100, that's impressive. It is. So we'll see how The Lost City does. Rounding out your top 10 this weekend is The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, about $1 million. It's at 18. I don't think it's going to get to 20. So movies this week, we've got Downton Abbey: A New Era. We've got Men. And then for at-home viewing, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers on Disney+. I have seen this. It's directed by Akiva Schaffer of The Lonely Island. He is on my new LCJ Q&A podcast episode, which drops tomorrow. AnimationScoop.com Q&A tomorrow for that as well. Got a new podcast episode and Q&A with Brandon Sawyer from The Boss Baby Back in the Crib. That's coming later this week. And it looks like one more, but I cannot tell you about that podcast episode just yet. Now, also this week is The Valet. I'm not allowed to share my thoughts on The Valet until Wednesday, but it's a new comedy on Hulu with Eugenio Derbez and Samara Weaving, and I want to talk about it, but I can't talk about it because Hulu has us embargoed. But if you've seen the trailers, if you've seen the promos, it's different than what you're going to expect it to be. Now, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'll let you know Wednesday with my review of The Valet. In theaters now, 4 theaters, and going to be expanding to more this week and more next week on the 27th, is Montana Story. I watched this the other night. It stars Haley Lou Richardson. It's a good drama. Is it amazing? No, but it's got a lot of subtle power to it, especially in the third act. And it opened in 4 theaters, made $20,000 this weekend, $5,000 in each theater. I'm pleased. Good for Bleecker Street. Good for this movie, Montana Story. Check it out. It's a good drama. It's a very grounded story. And I've seen some other people talk about how much it has affected them personally. It's a grounded film. It doesn't try to be showy. It doesn't try to be over the top. It tries to be real. And for the most part, it succeeds with that. Montana Story in select theaters now. So this week, the fall TV schedules are coming out. And the networks announced their shows for the fall lineups. And NBC kicks it off tomorrow, Fox as well, ABC, CBS, CW. The lineups usually come out about a day before, so I think we're going to get the NBC fall lineup today, maybe Fox tomorrow morning, ABC tomorrow afternoon, and then CBS and the CW later in the week. There are a couple shows that are on my radar. One is Monarch. This was supposed to debut in January. It's the new Susan Sarandon country music show for Fox. They pushed it to the fall, so we're going to see where Fox puts it on the fall schedule. And also Alaska. New drama for ABC. Hilary Swank, two-time Academy Award and Critics' Choice winner, stars in this show. She plays a reporter, goes from New York to Anchorage, Alaska, to work for a newspaper there. It is written, directed, produced by Tom McCarthy of Spotlight. Won the Oscar for that. Also did Stillwater last summer with Matt Damon. So you've got these two powerhouses in directing and writing and acting coming together for a new ABC drama. I mean, it reminds me of when Kiefer Sutherland came to ABC for Designated Survivor. Just a big name with this new interesting drama that could have a lot of appeal to it for older audiences, even for younger audiences. Alaska. So we're going to see where ABC puts that on the fall lineup. They renewed a bunch of shows. Fox canceled a few shows. CBS canceled a bunch of shows, and so did NBC. It was a bloodbath of cancellations. You know what also canceled a bunch of shows? The CW. A lot of people complaining about how many shows the CW canceled. They're still going to have Penn and Teller Fool Us, my favorite. Whose Line Is It Anyway? The Flash, a few others. But yeah, CW canceled a lot of shows the other day. So these will be interesting presentations, conversations, upfronts taking place for the fall TV lineup. And I'll give you the full details as they're released of the big surprises and shockers of where things are going to go. And if there are more renewals and cancellations on the way for these network shows this week. So that's always an exciting time if you're into the world of television. And speaking of television, brand new episode of the Back to You podcast is out now. It is at lcj.podbean.com. The link is also on the Twitter page at Back to You Pod. It is the special 3rd anniversary episode of the Back to You podcast. I share some personal stories, play some new clips, play some new interview clips, discuss new aspects of Back to You, and tell you about what the makers and the stars have been up to over the past year and their future projects, including Patricia Heaton returning to Fox with a new sitcom. Will that be part of the fall lineup or even the mid-season lineup? Steve Levitan's doing a new show called Reboot for Hulu about TV reboots. So a lot in the world of Back to You. Check out that brand new episode of the Back to You podcast at lcj.podbean.com, wherever you get your podcast for the LCJ Q&A podcast, because it's a spinoff of that, and Twitter at Back to You Pod. Back to You Reboot, says Shellfish Beach. Boy, I wish they would do a reboot, but now, unfortunately, we don't have Fred Willard with us anymore as Marsh McGinley. But we've had some reunions over the last few years. Will we get any more reunions? We had Kelsey on Patricia's show. We had Kelsey go on Modern Family with Ty and Fred and the makers of Back to You who did Modern Family. We've had these reunions. So will we have any more for upcoming series and films and other projects? We will have to see. But fun new episode. Check out that new episode of the Back to You podcast. So if I had to make a prediction now, for next week, I think it's going to be very close. Although Downton could be a little lower than the first one, depending on, where the world's at, how many older people want to go right away. If I had to make the prediction, I say it's going to be close. I still give the edge to Doctor Strange, but don't be surprised if Downton is your number one movie next weekend. We will break that down next Sunday right here on LCJ Live. We will also preview how Top Gun Maverick and the Bob's Burgers movie will do over Memorial Day weekend. I watched the last 5 minutes of Top Gun last night on CBS, getting ready for Top Gun Maverick. So look forward to that next Sunday. My reviews of The Valet and Downton Abbey and more coming this week, along with several LCJ Q&A podcast episodes and AnimationScoop.com Q&As. I'm Lights Camera Jackson. If you're watching this on YouTube, youtube.com/LightsCameraJackson, thank you so much. And Twitter, it's Twitter at LCJ Reviews, Instagram at LightsCamJackson, and the website is lights-camera-jackson.com. Thank you for watching LCJ Live. See you next Sunday for more. Take care. Bye-bye.